Hey, good. I'm Keely. I'm Customer Solutions Manager for Candidate.ID. Thanks for joining me. You might hear a bit of background noise because I'm actually broadcasting live from Unleash this year. So we're at Unleash London live at Excel, and I've got Billy McDiarmid with me. So for those of you that don't know, our Customer Solutions Director at Candidate.ID, and Billy is going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly from his years of experience, and I think now millions of campaigns he's been pushing out to build talent pipelines. So welcome, Billy.
Thank you very much, Keely. How's Unleash been going for you today?
Yeah, it's super busy. As you can probably hear, there's loads of people. It's quite nice for us actually, because obviously we won the Unleash Startup competition in Amsterdam last year, and then we won the Hiring Success competition in San Francisco last month. So I think there's quite a lot of attention on Candidate.ID. We've certainly been busy at our stand. There were 4 of us. There's 3 of us on the stand that have all been pretty busy, kind of having conversations with people all morning. So it's really good. And yeah, we've got another day and a half here, so I'm sure there'll be loads more going on as well. But you did the Unleash last year, Billy, did you? The winning Amsterdam Unleash one.
Yeah, well, we did London and Amsterdam last year, you know, and
okay.
I know we were just discussing there, you know, how busy they are and how much of an impact it's got on your feet. So it's enjoy the sit down while you can, Keely. You probably won't get much of a chance to sit down today, and
yeah,
but you know,
no, it's really true.
So I think it's quite new to you, Unleash, isn't it? It's something that you've not really participated in before?
No, yeah, absolutely. Well, look, maybe I'll just give a bit of an introduction to me, because I'm fairly new to Candidate.ID. So I joined Adam, Billy, and the team at the start of the year. So my background's really in marketing automation and marketing technology. So I worked for a DSP, helping global companies, retail, travel, and latterly in recruitment, to adopt technology to bring efficiency to their marketing functions. And actually I became aware of Candidate.ID following the Unleash competition win last year. And I kind of had a few conversations, met you a couple of times, Billy, didn't I? Had a few conversations with Adam and sort of started looking a bit more detailed into the tech, looking into the product, talking to some clients and sort of understanding what clients had to say about it. And the more that process went on, the more I thought, actually, this is really exciting, and I can see that it's going to change fundamentally the way that people recruit. So I decided to jump ship, and yeah, I've been full-time with Candidate.ID since January. So yeah, Unleash, brand new to me, and I'm loving it. Yeah, it's really, really exciting.
Fantastic. And I think I'll let you take the lead now, because I think you're going to. This is a new format for us, isn't it? So.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we decided to do, so we've now got a team of 3 of us, 3 customer solutions guys that are based down in and around London. So we're having conversations all day, every day with various different clients globally, talking about their sort of challenges with recruitment and hiring, and trying to understand exactly how could Candidate.ID fit into that. And what we found is that there are a few kind of key points and key questions that we're all being asked a number of times. So we thought we'd get you, Billy, and get sort of the guy whose team is responsible for actually running all of these campaigns and driving performance for clients and implementing Candidate.ID. And just ask you in this live forum some of the key questions that we're being asked by our clients. And the idea is we can then give everybody an understanding of what's good, what's maybe not been so good. And then I think we can start to kind of give people an idea of what best practice looks like and what they should be expecting to get from their talent pipeline automation and what they need to do to get the most out of it. So I've got a bigger list of questions here. Obviously, audience, if you have any questions as well, we'd love to hear from you. Billy will answer anything that you need to know as well. So do comment in the comments box and we'll answer your questions directly too. So I guess the first thing, Billy, to understand is one of the things that clients often say is, well, we can totally see the value in, and we love Candidate.ID, but I'm just not sure that we're ready for Candidate.ID right now. So I'd love to get your view on what if a client has never done talent pipelining before, understands it's something that they should be doing, understands the value in it, what do they need to have in place in order to make it a success?
Great starting point. And it is often one of the things that our clients do talk about, because it is a more proactive strategy. It's something that, okay, a lot of clients will have probably done some basic email campaigns before, something that's been a little bit more straightforward. But because it's not been not had our approach, it's not had our software, and it's not had our expertise behind it, the success of it has probably been limited, and they've probably not seen that much return on investment, or they've been unable to measure the return on investment. So there's two aspects. When you kick off, it's really simple and easy to get kicked off, and the second thing is it's very easy to measure your return on investment. So to get kicked off, what I need from our clients is I need the database of people who they want to target. All I need is name and email address. That's it. It's very simple.
And how big should that database be, Billy? What's the sort of, at what point does it become worthwhile using that data?
So we've had clients from 250 people on the database through to 10 million people on the database. So naturally, as you would expect, that the bigger the database, the bigger return that you're going to get. For me, is it worthwhile someone running 250 candidates through Candidate.ID? Do you know what? It's probably not, right? They will get a return, but it's probably not at the significant return that they need to justify the ROI. For it to be, though, a healthy campaign, and for me to even think about the Candidate.ID washing its face, you're talking about 1,000 plus candidates. So it's not a massive database. And what a lot of employers, a lot of our clients and prospective clients tend to do is that they'll actually look at their previous applicants instead. And I don't think I've ever worked with an employer who doesn't have at least 1,000 candidates within their applicant tracking system that we can use and we can retarget. And it's very simple in most cases for our clients to actually export the data from their applicant tracking system. So data, 99 times out of 100, is really easy to get a good starting point there.
Right. Okay. Cool. And sorry, I think I interrupted you. You were talking about what else people need to have in place to be able to run talent pipeline.
Sure. So there's another two key things from my perspective. The first thing is a clear idea of what your objective is from the initial campaigns. Now, a lot of our employers, actually, the objective isn't to get people towards vacancies at the moment, because actually one of the main reasons for using a solution like Candidate.ID is actually just to engage with your database first, because every single employer that I work with and every single prospective employer that we speak to on a daily basis doesn't engage at scale with their existing database, and they don't engage at scale with any new candidates that are coming from their sourcing team, or are coming from job boards, or coming from referrals, or coming from their alumni network, or coming through their diversity agenda, anything like that. They don't have any planning in place to actually keep in touch with people going forward. So it could be a simple thing like, okay, we just want to make sure that every single applicant who comes and applies for a job with us gets a regular stream of communication. So that's a really basic one. Or it could be, okay, we've spent £10. Our cost of acquisition per candidate has been £10 per candidate in the past 2 years. Every single candidate for the past 2 years, we want to re-engage with them and find out what they're doing just now, and find out, basically just get them to update their information and engage with it. Or it could be a diversity project. It could be that people have got something that's part of their D&I agenda, and they want to start thinking about, okay, how can we build out a campaign that is going to help the organisation through to their D&I. And I know we'll talk about D&I, I think later on in the call, in a little bit more detail. And then the third thing, which is often what clients think is the biggest blocker, is a content schedule. Now, the great thing, I've got a team of 6 here that work here with me at Candidate.ID. We've got our customer success team that is made up of people who are both recruitment experts and people who are platform experts, so know how to use the software and know how to build content and know how to find the right kind of content that's going to work. That makes it very, very easy and very, very quick for us to help our clients get up and running. In most cases, we get our clients up and running in 2 weeks. You get the first campaign sent out to any number of candidates, I might add, up to a reasonable point, and you start to see very,
not
my 10 million in 2 weeks. No, that'll be a little bit of a longer project. But with a reasonable number, and that could be 20,000. We've just done that for one of our clients where we've got 20,000 people in the database. We can be up and running really, really quickly and get you seeing results. And how we do that is actually by clients just giving us a little bit of control over content initially. We'll find the right content, we'll build the emails, we'll build the landing pages, we'll help you to get the tracking enabled on your website, and then we'll actually launch the campaigns. Obviously, we sign off at every single stage to make sure it's right. So because we've got the capacity, we're not just a software company. We're set up to provide that initial recruitment service as well to our clients to help you get on board, and then over time give you full training and full support to actually run campaigns yourself. So clients like Specsavers and Search and companies like that, they'll run Candidate.ID now themselves. Initially, for the first month, they had help, we supported them, but they now run the product themselves, and they now see the results that they're getting from it.
Yeah, and that's probably brings me on quite nicely to the next point. So I think often when we're talking to clients, that they're super excited about everything that Candidate.ID can do, but of course no one's got kind of a spare 3-4 hours a day in their diary. And so one of the things that clients typically want to know from us is how much work is involved for them. I guess firstly during that initial kind of onboarding phase, and then secondly, when they do start to move to take the product in-house. So in your experience, Billy, what's the best kind of way of working in terms of time to devote to this?
If we can get up and running with a client, quickly, then the time investment is nominal. It's the time required to gather your stakeholders internally, mobilize those stakeholders so that you might have different people that are responsible for extracting the data from your existing platform. You might have your sourcing team who need to build out the data, that type of thing. But if we're talking about a simple, quick campaign, you're talking literally hours. It could be 2 hours, 3 hours of time over a 2 to 3 week period to get the data sorted out, to sign off the work that we're actually doing, to answer any questions. My initial onboarding call with clients is usually about an hour. We normally, get enough information there to confirm what the brief and what the schedule is going to actually look like for that initial implementation period. And then my team will do all the legwork in the background. We set up your software, we take your data and import it into Candidate.ID. We'll build your email templates, build your landing templates. We'll add the content that we found for the initial phases of the campaign, and then we'll get it scheduled and sent out for you. So literally during that first couple of weeks period, and then the following phases of the implementation campaign, you're talking about no more than an hour or two over that period of time, or sorry, an hour. Let's call it an hour a week. That's 2 hours for the first couple of weeks, and then an hour check-in for the following weeks.
Okay. And what about then ongoing when clients are running, bringing the software in-house and managing things themselves? What do you typically see as being the optimum kind of period of time that people need to devote to their talent pipeline?
So there's no such thing as a typical client when it comes to Candidate.ID. So we've got some some clients who run campaigns daily. We've got some clients that run campaigns weekly, and we've got some clients that run campaigns every 2 to 3 weeks. So generally, when it's the cadence is less regular, so we do have one client who runs one campaign every 3 weeks. That's probably about 2 to 3 hours work per week. Per entire month for them to get that up and running. But that's because the content that they're producing, they're putting 3 or 4 pieces of original content in there, so they need to manage their stakeholders to pull that all together. So that's quite big ticket items, and it's one of our clients who's got a big community, and that's how they use Candidate.ID to manage and push that community towards their websites. Now, with clients who run things weekly, some of their stuff is bigger ticket work, bigger ticket content, but a lot of the work is really quick, tactical pieces of work where the content is quite light. So they want to start engaging with their technology candidates, for example. So they can take a piece of content that's already been created, something that might be on Stack Overflow or something that might be on the register or something like that, rework it, talk about it in the email, and get it sent out. That takes minutes. That can be a 30-minute job for you to find a piece of content and just create the email, rework it, link to that content, score the content, and then get it sent out to your candidates. And that's a good thing about Candidate.ID is once you're up and running and once your templates are set up, it is just a case of taking the existing templates, amending them, and then getting that distributed out to your candidates.
Yeah. Sure. No, that makes perfect sense. And in your experience, Billy, where should the management ongoing of Candidate.ID sit? So within an organisation, which team or teams? Sorry, I think I can't work out if it's a DLR going above me or a plane going up to the city
you're
airport.
City, aren't you? Yeah.
Every so often something happens. Yeah. So sorry about that. So yeah, where should it or could it sit within a typical talent acquisition team or function? Who should have responsibility for what elements of Candidate.ID? So
this will work on an organisation by organisation basis, but 9 times out of 10 it's going to sit with your recruitment, marketing, or your sourcing function. The reason why we say that, recruitment, marketing, they naturally will have the content creation skill set, and will probably have exposure to some marketing automation or email campaign technology in the past. So they will have an idea about how to run Candidate.ID successfully. The second option, in terms of putting that and embedding it within your sourcing team, the reason we talk about your sourcing team is generally, and I am talking generally, they are the most technology capable. So they are the ones who will be able to learn how to use the technology very, very quickly, but also will push the technology and come up with new ideas and come up with innovative ways of actually doing it and using it. And the most innovative ideas that we have with Candidate.ID do come from the sourcing clients that we have, where they've embedded it within their sourcing centres of excellence or their sourcing functions. Within an agency environment, you're talking about it sitting probably well away from the consultants because they're focused on other things. Within an agency environment, it would have to sit within a marketing team. So we do recommend that, if an agency is looking at Candidate.ID, that either you've got at least a marketing manager, someone with a significant level of experience within marketing, or you utilize our managed service on an ongoing basis, because we do have the capability to run Candidate.ID as a managed service for you.
Yeah, okay, fine. And just a couple of questions around sort of performance expectations. So I think one thing that clients are always quite interested to know, particularly when they're considering taking and using onboarding Candidate.ID as a new platform. And of course, there's a piece of work in terms of kind of selling that internally and getting buy-in from other stakeholders around the businesses. So the first part of the question, which you probably want to answer together, Billy, is how long until they should expect to see results and kind of see ROI from Candidate.ID? And the second part is, what does good look like? So what should the expectation be set as? And I appreciate there's not going to be a one-size-fits-all answer to this either, as there never is with any of this stuff. But maybe if you could just give us a couple of examples of what may... Yeah,
absolutely. So we have, and in fact, there's a good example of this from last week, where one of our new clients, a large, well-known business turning over tens of billions of dollars. They launched a campaign, and within a day they had more than 500 new applicants or new candidates, within literally 24 hours. And that wasn't even from a massive database. So the immediate results in terms of getting candidates to tell you that they're active and looking for and interested in talking to you will be very, very quick. It'll be almost instantaneous. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to get return on investment, within a day. Obviously, you need to take those candidates through the funnel, but there's no reason why within 3 to 4 weeks you can't start. You'd start to see, for me, that client will start to see people moving into interview within the next 2 weeks. So you're already starting to see candidates who they've never engaged with move into a situation where they're going to quickly get outcomes, are going to very quickly get results. Now, that's an employer that does have live vacancies, that does have opportunities, to live for them just now. We've got other clients who don't at the moment, and this is where a little bit of expectation management comes in, because if you use Candidate.ID simply to engage with your candidates, you're keeping them in a holding pattern, as I call it. Like City Airport, that's probably what that is. It's probably
they can't land yet.
Round and round. So until the candidate's ready to land, that's a good analogy. Then they're not going to. That's what happens. But actually, in that case, what you're trying to do is just keep in touch with as many candidates as possible. And we work with clients who do this, where their only objective is we want to just keep in touch with people until we're ready to start hiring them, and still do it. And in that case, for me, it's particularly as a marketer, if I can engage with as many of those candidates as possible at scale, then that's taking the pressure off my recruitment team. And the typical target for that, we typically would expect to be in touch with, on a monthly basis, 55 to 65% of an employer's database using Candidate.ID. That's massive. That's significant. When you consider that every single employer that we start working with keeps in touch with less than 5% when we start working with them. So to be able to actually get it up where and I'm talking about meaningful engagement. I'm not just talking about them reading a job that's been sent out. These are people who are opening emails and who are clicking through and reading content and engaging with the brand. So it's a high number of people, So, and that, again, that's within 4 weeks. So, if I can turn around to employers and I can say that there's a very, very strong chance, if we get, if we organize the project in the right way, which is what we do, within 4 weeks I can engage with more than half of your database. That's a fantastic result that will, when the client then is going to hire, will convert into results. Now, there is a little bit of work from the employer side. I do, where this is where the good, the bad, and the ugly comes in, Keely. Okay, because we have.
I was going to ask about some ugly, but I thought, listen, if you want to share,
listen,
I'm sure it'd be interesting for the
recruitment, the pipeline automation technology, talent pipeline automation technology doesn't fill jobs for you. Okay, that's not what we're doing. We can't take the candidate and put them right through to the point where they fill the job. Recruiters with this technology still have an important role to play, and the best results that we get is where the recruiters are all over the list of leads that we give them. So think it is still a very, the analogy is still very much with a sales pipeline. Okay, I give you a list of leads, I give you a list of hot candidates who are engaged with the content, and the recruiter has to go and speak to them. They've got to go and call them. So that's where it works.
Of course. Yeah. So that then comes outside of
and as we can support, we can give guidance and we can give advice, and that's where one of our first big success stories was with Dialogue Semiconductors. Okay, about 18 months ago, just when I joined the business. The reason why that was so successful, and the reason why people like Specsavers and Search and all these companies have been successful, and Accenture and SiteMinder and all these organizations, is because they've had hungry recruiters who appreciate the fact that a warm candidate is the best candidate to speak to. Where it has fallen over, and there have been, like anything in life, there have been some campaigns that haven't quite, hit the mark or haven't filled jobs where they've wanted to fill the jobs, and it's because the recruiters just haven't either had the desire or the capacity or the capability to actually engage with the hot candidates. So you do need to have a team set up, guys, that is willing to actually put that effort in and to go out and speak to your recruiters. Now, you're saving so much time though using Candidate ID, because instead of you wasting time on 100 candidates from LinkedIn who do not know who you are, who have never engaged with your brand, who don't know what you're about, what you can do is contact, and probably not looking for a job. Absolutely. You can speak to the top 10 candidates in your sector and your location who are actually engaged and who you know have opened your emails and who have read your blogs and who have visited your website. Okay, so this is not a comparison to cold candidates. We're not asking recruiters to call 10 people who have never engaged with content. This is 10 hot people, and this is where the time saving aspect comes in. There's also two other side effects. Engaged candidates are more likely, engaged prospective candidates are more likely to convert into applicants. Okay. Now that's a really, really important thing, because the more information that the candidate has got, then it's like a consumer journey. Do you know, the more information you've got about, if I'm going to buy in a new camera, the more information, the more informed I am, the more likely I am to actually buy the camera. And it's very, very, very similar in a recruitment context. The second aspect is, though, the more informed the candidate is, the better quality a candidate is. So you'll see better ratios. So your long list to short list to interview to placement ratios will absolutely improve, and you will see a quality improvement of placements as well. So you'll see a longer term impact, throughout the onboarding, looking at onboarding KPIs, and then ultimately retention as well. So you're not dealing all the time with active candidates, with people who are out there applying for every job. This is helping you to nurture and engage with candidates who are actually, genuinely higher quality candidates.
Yeah, sure. And I guess it's kind of, so to come back to the point of, what are realistic expectations and how do you prove ROI? There's some that are very short-term measures of success that you've mentioned in terms of candidates engaged. There's some that are more mid-term in terms of shortlist and time to hire. And then there's some that are longer-term. So things like quality of hire and, length of service and all of that type of thing are very long-term kind of
absolutely.
KPIs
but also
to measure,
don't forget, you've got all those measurables, but you've also got longer-term measurables like a reduction in overall cost of acquisition. So you will, if you run this process and you run it in the way that our long-term clients do, then you will be able to reduce your advertising spend. There's no doubt about it. You'll be able to reduce your reliance on job boards. Where we've seen that particularly successful is where there's a reliance on job boards for specialisms or geographic reasons. So, where there's an area of any part of the world where there's a reliance on a local job board, by actually engaging more with local candidates, we're engaging with people who perhaps may have not applied at all, or perhaps would have been drawn into that local job board. Okay, so you're cutting out that job board middleman straight away.
So that's the hard kind of
totally, and that's
ROI,
a key thing. That's something that our clients are achieving. They're being able to take away the reliance on, whether it's job boards, whether it's still, some of our clients still have in the past, or recently done traditional advertising. Or what they can do is take spending away from those, and in my view, no longer required sources of candidates like job boards and CV databases, and push the budget into other things like programmatic. We're actually using, paid programmatic and paid social. You can utilize Candidate ID as well. We've got clients, as one of our big clients is one of the big agencies in Europe, and they use Candidate ID. Instead of spending money on job boards, they spend it on programmatic, and then they push candidates into Candidate ID for nurture directly from programmatic. So there's other ways. So if you're one of your achievements, I know some people don't want to reduce the budget they're spending in case they lose it. I know I'm certainly one of them, but actually.
I'm like that with my clothes.
Just make sure you buy something. Just buy something.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't
So,
need it.
you know,
Hey.
do that, and,
Yeah,
and
no,
you're
of
using your
course.
budget in a much smarter way. So this is then again tying into exactly what you said about the longer term benefits of Candidate ID. You know, then that's it. And there's also, I mean, to be honest, there's other, you know, perhaps non-measurable stuff that I'm going to talk. I'm writing a paper just now on, you know, which is the ultimate guide to email marketing and recruitment. And don't, you know, don't underestimate the side effects, you know, the rapport that you're building with candidates, that the brand awareness, particularly most of our clients, we've got some consumer brands, but a lot of our clients are business to business. A lot of potential candidates aren't really aware of what opportunities are available from a lot of business to business employers in the local market. So brand awareness, getting the brand out there in a way, you know, that definitely has got an organic reach. It's harder to measure, but we do see, you know, employers getting higher. You know, one of our big, not our big clients, one of our smaller clients who are a smaller pharmaceutical business, they seen an 80% increase in the amount of traffic coming to just their careers page, but after using Candidate ID, they weren't using any other source. So there's definitely a reputation. There's definitely, you know, you're spreading awareness of the fact that you are employing in the local area.
Yeah, of course. And that brings me quite nicely. I'm just conscious of time as well. So, and I've got a couple more questions, if that's all right. But that brings me quite nicely onto one. We've been asked a number of times, and that is, what's best practice and what do you suggest when you've got, as you say, Billy, you know, candidates coming through your attraction channels, so they're coming onto your jobs pages but don't apply, or they're looking at your corporate site but they're not applying, they're engaging with you on social and they're not applying. So actually you don't have their email address, you don't have a mobile number for them. What's your
so you
advice
can
around
use
that?
Candidate ID landing pages on these sites and create an appealing landing page. It's actually incentivizing the candidate to sign up and incentivize them through content that they're actually going to want to receive. Think about, okay, if you were the candidate, what would you want to know about the organization on a longer term basis? Would it be about job opportunities? Would it be about your corporate social responsibility? Would it be about your environmental policies? Would it be about your what products and services you offer? Think about all that. It has to be clear though, you know, candidates, what we've found, and we've done some work with a client recently where the message was really poor. It was quite, you know, the message that the client came up with was a bit weak. It was a bit soft, to be honest with you. And the results were...
And do you advise at that point, or do you
we'll
just
provide
kind of
advice. You know, we will let the clients run with it initially, and we have to have a benchmark. You know, we have to look at it. You know, what I think. You know, I don't want my subjective opinions to come into things, but the beauty of running Candidate ID is that I can then run the campaign and I can look at the analytics behind it. So I can look at, you know, what have the click-throughs been, what have the conversion rates been, you know, versus what should be the industry standards, you know. But although saying that, we don't work to industry standards, we work to our own benchmarks, we work to a far higher. You know, for example, we want to work, the average open rate within the recruitment industry for emails is 19%. We work to an average open rate of 35%. So we're always, and with that, we're...
Yeah, I mean,
we've had 85% in the past 2 weeks for another client, you know. So so it really does vary, but we very rarely get below 20%. You know, that would be definitely an outlier. And when it falls below that mark, so you know, we're measuring absolutely everything. So everything is evidence based. I don't do things based on guesswork. And actually, that's an important part that I didn't mention in our implementation. A huge part of the initial, you know, once we're up and running, and then the implementation phase, which normally takes about 2 months, is actually establishing a scorecard and establishing baselines and going, okay, this is what's been achieved with what we have so far. What can we then improve on? What can we then do? You know, moving forward. So that's a significant part of it.
Yeah, fine. Okay, great. And I guess just one more thing that we mentioned at the beginning, that I would say probably at least 60% of our conversations that we're having, and this is the same for all of the custom solutions team with various different clients, is around diversity, and in particular gender diversity. So what can Candidate ID do, or what have you seen work really well when you're thinking about diversity?
Sure. So
gender?
this ties into a couple of areas. First of all, the ability to correctly segment your candidates, so that you're able to push out positive action messages to the right group. It doesn't matter whether it's gender or ethnicity or what it is, what characteristic that you're wanting to push out to. So we can help you do that and segment it correctly so that the right people are getting the right message. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, again, going back to the measurement of it, we can really clearly measure how the different groups are actually performing. It's a sensitive area, and it's something that you want to make sure that you're getting right. So we've been speaking to people like Joe Lockwood recently, about okay, what is what approach should we be taking, and she's been brilliant and given us some amazing insight and amazing advice into what will work. Again, that positive action message is something that's really important and has to happen in the right way. And when we use analytics, we can then say, yes, we think that message is working, or no, that message isn't working. So it just comes back to those clear measurables. And it's also, one of the challenges that a lot of our clients talk about when it comes to a D&I agenda is the lack of measurables. The lack of something that they can take back to their chief people officer or take back to the board and say, through the process for Candidate.ID.
You froze for a second there. You got to. I heard they can take to the board, and then I missed the punchline.
They can take to the board. They can take the measurables to the board or the chief people officer and actually demonstrate exactly what people have done, how they've engaged, and what they like. What they like and what they don't like. So it's an incredibly powerful use case if you are struggling with trying to figure out how you measure the return on your ROI, your return on your D&I campaign. Yeah,
perfect. And so look, I think we're getting to the stage that we're almost running out of time in terms of questions, but that's all been really useful. And I'm sure that most of those questions will resonate with a load of people out there that are thinking about talent pipelines and are considering working with someone like Candidate.ID. The final thing we did put on the tease that you might have time to share a bit of detail or on roadmap for Candidate.ID. So is that something that you're able to talk about briefly now?
Yeah, so we're working on a few different things. The kind of big part of product that we're working on just now is putting some recruitment CRM functionality into the platform. So we're allowing you to manage candidates end to end through jobs, allowing you to individually engage with candidates. So the campaign focus is always going to be the main part of building talent pipelines, but there is a need for recruiters on an individual basis to be able to manage the relationships as well as working on a campaign basis. We're making significant improvements to our campaign builder. So we're bringing in a workflow testing capability within that, so that you can build the campaign and also test the campaign logic as well. And we're just making it all in all, we're putting in a new what you see is what you get editor, so it becomes far easier for you to actually build your own emails and build your own landing pages. So there's 8 or 9 different phases of work that are ongoing at the moment. So we're looking at a release in the summer at some point. Of that, we're working through a lot of the work packages and a lot of testing at the moment. Right. So it's all very exciting.
I was going to ask when, and I noticed that you've been really wonderfully sort of vague and said summer. So.
I'm a project manager. I know when to be exact, when to be precise, and when to be But we need to. That what's important to me isn't when we release the product. Within reason, of course. What we want to make sure is it's the right product for the market. So it's realistic for it to be the summertime. We'll start to see some stuff coming.
Right, and it all sounds really amazing in terms of features and functionalities. So personally can't wait to see. Can't wait to start.
Worth waiting for.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm sure it is. And more details of that will come out as and when, won't it, in terms of as key.
Yeah, absolutely. As and when we'll get information pushed out. Absolutely.
Perfect. Great. Well, look, thanks so much, Billy. Look, this recording is going to be available, so we'll share it. So do feel free to kind of share around. You all have our contact details as well. So as I mentioned, we've got a team now of customer solutions people, and we'd love to talk. So if anyone wants any more information on anything that we've spoken about, or if you're thinking about talent pipelining, not quite sure where to start, or you just want to, you know, pick our brains and float around a few ideas of you know, what good might look like, then we'd love to speak to you. So please do get in touch, and one of us will come back to you, and more than happy to demo the Candidate.ID platform as well.
Absolutely.
Right, guys.
And thank you so much, Keely. I hope you and the team enjoy Unleash. What stand number are you all at?
508, and we're actually just right next to the coffee bar. So we're next to the coffee and sandwiches. So yeah, you know, we'd love to see anyone that's at Unleash over the next couple of days. Do come and find us, and we'd love to chat more. But thanks, Billy, for your time, and thanks for providing us an honest insight into what we should all be looking to do with regard to talent pipelining.
Pleasure. Enjoy the rest of Unleash. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Keely.
Bye.
Bye.